want to make sure that this is on a big fin. You don't want to put it on the small ones. Another thing that's handy is you rotate the magnet away from the coil. You never want to pull on the magnet part of it. There it is. See, if you have that magnet up here, it tends to want to stick to the coil. You want to keep close track of your key. And normally the rebuild kits will come with a new key. Okay, on all models, spark plug gap is set to 30 thousandths, and on your points, it's set to 20 on all models. So we're going to check the points now that we got the cover, the shroud removed. It makes it easier to roll the engine over if you remove the spark plug first. Now you want to roll your engine over until the points open up all the way. And now they're open all the way. Now you want to take a feeler gauge. And remember, it's set at 20. Even though these are rigid, you got to be pretty careful with them. And it's loose. It's loose up inside there. It needs to be reset. I think it's about 15 over what it's supposed to be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open this up and touch it up with some emery cloth so it's clean and shiny. It's got a little corrosion on there. Okay, I got the emery cloth. It won't take very much. You can see the little bit of corrosion on there. Now remember to do both points. Okay, now we're going to reset the gap. And how you do that is you make sure it's open all the way. Okay. You loosen that up just ever so slightly so you can tweak it. Just enough where you can kind of push it. Can't get the feeler gauge quite in there right because of the governor vane. I might be in the camera view for a second. Okay, feels about right. I'm going to have my assistant trick videos. Tighten her up. I'm holding it there. You want to make sure that feeler gauge is nice and level with the points, because it'll actually open up if you tilt it any. And you don't want it to push up. If you bring out the feeler gauge and you push it back in, you don't want it to press up. You want it just to be snug on the feeler gauge. Okay, now roll it over and make sure that it closes. And it did. Closed all the way till it was touching. Now your points are set. Now when you put the shroud back on, you want to make sure that you got something like electrical tape around this piece right here, because it'll actually eat up some of the spark if it's shorting out to the engine. Okay, now I'll put the flywheel back on. That's always ideal to put a little lubricant on the threads right here and on the shaft. That way, if you gotta open it up again, oh, we're leaking fuel. If you gotta open it up again, makes your life simpler. Locating the key. There it is. Put the key back in. Rotate. Ideally, you want the key up. Put your key back in. Put your washer over top. Then you grab your recoil. Now you want to put a socket on here and torque that spec. Right here it says flywheel nut foot-pounds and 55. Got a torque wrench out. We're going to torque this to spec 55. Put our holder on. Now this is an old school torque wrench. You got to make sure that you're right in the center. You got to actually be pushing on that pin. You got to have all your pressure on the pin. You got to have this handle balanced, and then you push down. Oops. 55. Now you also want to check the gap right here. Now this is a triple leg coil. And what you want to do, you take your feeler gauge. This one's supposed to be 10 thousandths. Okay, there's 10. And this one's out and it's set to about 40. So that can be moved down, get a hotter spark. And also you want to clean the faces of these three legs. And if your magnet's rusty, you also want to clean that up too. Normally you just use emery cloth, but you want to make sure that you get the magnet clean and all three legs clean from metal shavings. You want to loosen them. Be real careful with this coil wire. If that breaks, you're going to have to buy a new coil. Get all 4 bolts loosened. Let's see if there's a hair of rust on there. Cover that spark plug hole again. Now you want to reset the gap. We're going to set it at 10 at the closest point on the flat wheel, which happens to be the opposite side from the magnet. Get that one close. Okay, that one's a 10. Oops. Go ahead and tighten that one down. I'm only tightening one, that way I can pivot it. Once I get the other side set, I want to do that screw first. Okay, that side set. Now if everything's roughed up properly, the center one should be right at 10 also, and it is. And we're open about 10 thousandths over. So we're going to come around, we're going to use the tool, and we're going to close it up. You can break those little tabs off. doesn't take much. Now we're too tight. Almost there. There we are. It's a little bit on the snug side. Alright, this is RustReaper. One of the best penetrants I've ever used. You can get it at RustReaper.com. Makes life so much simpler. You just put a little bit on there. You don't want to touch that, it'll give you a whammer. As you can see, it's got a nice spark. It's jumping almost about a half a centimeter. So that's a plenty hot spark. Now I'll put the fuel line back on and see if we can't get this started up. Putting the air filter back on. You don't have to have that mega tight. Turn on the fuel. Ran good. That's the centrifugal clutch slowing down. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good time.